Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Wuthering Waves reaction. Today we have Husk of Broken Dreams as requested by Cash is Not Sleepy in the comments of the last video. Quite a few people wanted me to get to this one, even though it's from a few versions ago. So I'm gonna have to figure out why that is. Why a song from a couple of versions ago that just wasn't requested has so many people still interested in it that they're like, hey, let's get back to that. You missed something, which always means it's gonna be a banger. So I really hope so. And without further ado, let's go. Now that's an interesting atmosphere.
Come close, isn't it beautiful? The gown embroidered with these jewels of gold. Toast to death, the most generous life.
I think it's really interesting that I couldn't quite tell
Let's drink up venom of fire.
if it was a piano or like a hand pan at first. It's a very hollow keyboard sound.
Did you hear my silent plea? Did it get
I'm already understanding why people wanted me to hear it.
I just stand on the cliffs and watch the winds and the waves rewrite all black. To regret leaves my starving eyes.
Oh, that's neat. That's really cool. That, like, that echoing in there. I mean, that synth is cool too, but it was the part before this. That's a really neat tone.
Left hand still slide from space's crack.
A little bit more texture now with the extra percussion.
Right hand still
Couple of extra samples.
bells to molten rise. The highest peak, the deepest fall seems vague. So hard imprisoned by his walls.
It's a really interesting sound with the guitar. It almost sounds flamenco inspired. It might be.
Did you hear my silent plea?
Oh,
Is it rusting in the
I love that. It sounds like a gavel hitting a table.
I just walk by the shore.
Heavy reverb on some sort of a clap. Very well could be like a wood on wood.
Until there's nothing left.
Yeah, I love that. That keyboard sound is so cool. It's so close to what a hand pan or a tongue drum would have, but it's it's not. This song is so dark and beautiful. The way that it was set up is so haunting, and that's beautiful for the scale that it was utilizing, which is B minor. Such a haunting scale, such a beautiful one for doing these sorts of like heavy emotional, yet at the same time a little bit spooky. It's got a lot to offer as far as the dissonance goes, but also has a couple and just a few major chords in there that make things feel a little bit more bright, but also the ones that are in there really aren't all the brightest chords in the major chord bunches. In here you have ones like E minor B. It's a slash chord, which means it's not necessarily on its own a standalone chord. It's just a different voicing of both of those by borrowing a bass note from the other. The only other one I can think of that might be just like a standard one is right here at G D, which is obviously the most bright of all of them, but it's also a G/D. It's another slash chord, so it's not like it has more suspense in its design than a standard chord would. If you were to have just a normal one, like there's a B minor, you know, it's like everything in this has a little bit more flex. And I talk about flex a lot in keys because there's plenty all over the fucking place. But what makes B minor sound so haunting is the fact that there's not too much when it comes to just sounding proud and proper. E minor, you know, like anything you do in here just doesn't quite have the body of anything else standard. There's like a D flat G suspended fifth, I think, a G flat fifth. Weird, you know, just odd chords. There's the G flat fifth, like without the suspension. So it's just like, what's going on here, you know? It's so strange that this key works this way, but because this key sounds the way it does, it makes it feel like you're constantly having something dangling in front of you, and it's nothing good. Like, there's no positivity within this. It doesn't really have any moments or chords in it that really lift you up or anything. There might be one or two. There's a D, for example. That's probably the best bet you got in here. It's the only one that I can think of in that key that would necessarily sound bright and inviting. I lied, I forgot GB was in here. But still, it's a slash chord, so, you know, again, the same thing of having the extra suspense on it. And man, this song utilizes all of that, doesn't it? The tension on this song is absolutely gorgeous. It holds your attention the whole way through. And I love how that's utilized in this song to like support things like the lyrics are talking about, to make things sound cyclical, because there's a lot of mention of the waves and wind, and both of those are usually personified in music by using cyclical motifs of some sort, just having the voice or the keyboard kind of dancing around just a couple of notes and going back to a root. Like at one point, I'm pretty sure you go, and I think another point, it's like, again, both very cyclical. You're bouncing around between the same couple of notes and landing on a solid note at the bottom to solidify yourself in that basement and go like, wow, we're back to that rooted feeling, especially this one that just ends there because it's only the second note in this key, and it just, oh man, it's like, okay, we're right there, you know? We're able to just kind of start building off of that and start doing chords and start getting a little bit more interesting in how it's structured. You know, just, you could build around stuff like that. There's so much room for activities in chords and keys in general. Again, I talk about that all the time. And there's so much flavor in B minor that a song like this that is designed purely to sound basically, at least in my opinion, like depression incarnate. What a perfect choice. And it just feels so good. I mean, it feels awful, but that's the point, right? And it helps that musically in all the instrumentation in here, there's really nothing that sounds like too bright, proud, and up front and center, aside from the voice. Obviously, that would be taking the front seat, but at the same time, there's no other instruments in here that are clashing against that tonally. Everything has a lot of reverb on it, the echo in there, that sound on the keyboard, again, it's just so hollow compared to like a standard piano would be. It has a little bit more of a woodiness to it, and that makes it feel that much more haunting and empty. This entire song conveys this feeling of emptiness that's really hard to get if you don't utilize the right keys and the right instruments, and clearly this composer knows exactly what to do in order to push that a little bit further and get that emotion to really shine. I mean, even down to the title, Husk of Broken Dreams, you can tell that this song isn't supposed to be happy. Everything in here is designed around the concept of being sad. We are in real sad boy hours, this is the vibe, and it might not be a happy one, but it is hauntingly gorgeous, and it really makes you kind of think about yourself. It makes you question your own mortality a little bit. B minor does that a lot, you know. Like, you could also say that this is like D major, because that would be a relative, but the reason that it is B minor is because of what they're circling around when it comes to the emotion. D major, obviously, major sounds bright, happy, proud. Minor sounds sad, downtrodden, you know, the weight of the world on your shoulders. That's the core difference between utilizing these two. Like, for example, there could be an emotional shift during the song and you want to start borrowing more from the chords available in D major instead, and you'd be like, well, aren't they the same notes? If you know anything about music, that's how those work, right? D major and B minor are built up of the exact same notes. There's nothing else different about them, but what is different is the intent of the groupings of the notes there. Again, in this key, B minor, you have the same notes available, but it doesn't sound as happy because of where you start on that B, you know, and then you're using a lot more of that climb, focusing on these notes that are right next to each other, that don't have any real reason to be. Whereas if you start on the D and go up the exact same notes, just slightly further up on the keyboard, right? It sounds so much happier. What the fuck? Music theory is insane. It doesn't make any sense. And like, that's why nobody knows what they're doing when it comes to music theory. Even though I understand the concepts and I'm trying to convey those to you, stuff like this doesn't make sense, because like, you would start in here and be like, wow, well, none of these really kind of work together. It's like, why are these relationships together? They all, like, again, that was like the brightest one. There's one that's not, you know? Like, if I move up to the key of D here, there's the D chord. It's again in B minor, but because the tonic is the D note, you immediately want to do the triad that is at the root of that note, which would be D. If I were to go back down to the B minor scale and do the B minor triad, that's a B minor. You know, like, again, it drives you in a different direction emotionally. The feel starts in a different location, so your mind is going to pull you in a different emotional direction and make a completely different sound out of it. That's why these sorts of things are so important when it comes to music theory. I'm not the person that's going to teach you all you need to know about music theory, but I understand it enough to be able to explain why it's stupid sometimes to really feel these differences, because that's what makes songs like this feel like they're so haunting and they have so much emotional pressure to them. While you can write a song in the key of D and have it sound bright and inviting, and it's completely different. And if you had done that to this song, it would be a completely different story. We would not be here talking about this right now. But I think that's about all I've got to say on this one. It is a gorgeous piece. I love the lyrical parallels, like I mentioned, with those like cyclical moments in the notes. It's beautiful. I love the playing around with that, the great textures in addition as we get further into the song. Again, it's just really solid shit. I love hearing songs like this that play with those emotional playgrounds. You don't have to make everything sound super happy. Sometimes the point is to be sad, and people who know how to do that and how to work these keys in order to make that sound as pressuring and eventful as possible are exactly why they are where they are in their professional scenes and careers. That's what makes them great. So between all that and the performance and the vocalist, it just sounds beautiful, and I really don't have much else to say. So thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want me to get to something else, by all means drop in the comments below and I will do my best as always to get to those. But if you don't want to do any of that, maybe just want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!